Good evening, I'm Dan Wool.
And I'm Laura Lee. Thanks for joining us. A Pine County family is voicing frustration with the Minnesota court system after a plea agreement was reached with the man who killed their loved one.
And last July, 40-year-old Corey Olson was driving near Hinckley. Authorities say he was high on meth with 3 children in the car when he crashed into another vehicle, killing 63-year-old Cameron Ellis. The 3 children in Olson's car were critically injured.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Olson pleaded guilty to criminal vehicular homicide and 3 counts of criminal vehicular operation. 4 other charges were dropped as a result of this plea deal.
And Northern News Now's Ella Schoberl heard from the family of Cameron Ellis tonight. Ella, they are not happy with how Olson's case is playing out in court.
That's right, Dan and Laura. That's because Ellis's family said that they haven't been able to find closure because not only has Olson violated his conditional release multiple times, but he's now taking a plea agreement.
Cameron Ellis's family says Cameron was a family man, always cracking jokes and spreading joy wherever he went.
He was willing to help out anybody, friends, family, strangers.
Now his family is left grieving after his sudden death on July 2nd of last year at the hands of a reckless driver.
It was just a normal Thursday, and then my husband had gotten a call from his sister, and he started crying, and I wasn't quite sure what had happened.
Corey Olson originally had 8 charges, 7 being felonies. That included operational vehicular homicide while under the influence of methamphetamine. According to court documents, a judge set bail at $100,000. He was able to bond out, but then violated his conditional release agreement and was rearrested. This would happen 3 times in the span of 7 months, a judge eventually increasing his bail amount to $250,000. Ellis's family feels that each time he gets out and messes up, they're forced to relive the trauma and say they're losing faith in the system meant to bring him to justice.
As soon as, things start to feel a little bit normal again, we have another court date. So then everything gets drugged back up.
Despite these violations, Olson was offered a plea deal. He pleaded guilty this month to 1 count of vehicular homicide and 3 counts of criminal vehicular operation.
So really not having much hope in this, and then hearing that he had the plea deal that was offered, that was kind of like a slap in the face because, for us, we lost someone in our family.
Now the family is working to pick up the pieces as they look ahead to Olson's sentencing.
And it wasn't until recently when court things started wrapping up that it's oh, this is real. He's not coming back. He was killed by the reckless actions of another person.
Olson's sentencing is scheduled for August, and before this crash, Olson was previously convicted of DWI in 2021 and DWI and controlled substance crime in the 5th degree in 2020. Live in studio, Ella Schoberl, Northern News Now.